Oh man, have I had a week? It's been crazy. I've had a lot going on. The main reason that I haven't been around for the past few days, and it's been like a week since I've done a stream, and I really wanted to do that. Like over the weekend, I really wanted to do like a video that was a dedicated spoiler discussion video for the Masters of the Universe movie, which again I very much enjoyed. And I'm hoping this will do that in the future, but I want to try to do something kind of special with it, and I haven't really had time to set it up yet. But yeah, even then, I got a lot of stuff I want to open. I've still got like a whole lot more Masters of the Universe stuff, and I've got, man, where is it? I had it around here somewhere. This is very cool. If I can find what I did with it, if I can find what I did with it. But I've been moving a lot of stuff around, and a lot of stuff got shuffled around, and I'm not sure where I would have put it. But I'll just tell you. And not show you. I did get the first one for me of the new Mattel DC figures, which is Batman. Of course, I got Batman. You know why? The only way it would have been anybody but Batman is if they didn't have Batman. If Batman was the only character they didn't have, then I wouldn't have bought him. But as it was, they had Batman and the Flash, so I got Batman. I considered getting the Flash. I'll get the Flash eventually, but I figured, nah, Batman's good enough for now. So sometime in the near future, I will be opening up that Mattel Batman figure, but not today, obviously, because if you look at the screen, you see that I've already decided we're going to open up Orko. I figure that'll be a good figure to open up today. Al Davis is here and says, "Good afternoon, Alan. Hope you're doing well." I'm doing pretty well. It's been a crazy week. I finally decided. I mean, like I decided this a long time ago, but I finally got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I got to get rid of my storage unit. I can't really afford to keep this storage unit anymore. So I've been moving a bunch of stuff this week, and that was why I didn't have a video on see, Saturday and Sunday I was just tired. So I didn't shoot a video on Saturday and Sunday. And if I knew that I wasn't going to do another video until Friday, I probably would have just powered through and done a video on at least Saturday or Sunday, if not both. But then it wound up so that I wasn't able to do one on, usually on Monday and Tuesday. That's when I got to go into work early. So it's tricky for me to do a video then. Not impossible. I often still do a video then, but it's a little tricky, And then I was going to do a video on Wednesday, but just life got in the way. Just stuff happened. I wasn't able to. And then yesterday, Thursday, I was going to move that stuff, into my mom's house. And Aunt June's here. Aunt June's. I haven't seen Aunt June in a long time. Well, I mean, like I've seen her in between. I haven't seen her on the chat in a long time. Is what I'm saying. And Bobby Wald says, "I'm surprised they didn't make this version transforms into Driel, Orko's girlfriend." Well, let's not open that can of worms right now. Al Davis says, "Interested in by that line. What are the colors at least? Black and dark gray, blue. It's the blue and gray. It's the blue and gray one. It's the blue and gray one. But we'll discuss that more when I eventually open that figure. But yeah, it's a classic blue and gray Batman, but he does not have a classic Batman emblem. He has the Rebirth Batman emblem. Interesting choice. It's a nice looking figure though. I can't wait to open it up. It's a bit larger than I expected it would have been. I was thinking it would be closer to like, the Superman 2025 movie figures that Spin Master made. Anyway, I got this guy a while back and I kind of forgot about it. Yeah, it is a tease. Al Davis says intrigued, cough, tease, cough, haha. Yeah, of course I'm gonna tease stuff. I'm gonna tease lots of stuff. By the way, I did just get in an order from Big Bad Toy Store, and I got a lot of cool stuff in there to open up. We've got more 2000X cartoon collection because I've got Tila, Merman, and Web Store to open up. And I've got a few, how do I put this? Masters of the Universe type figures. Not actual Masters of the Universe figures. Not anything made by Mattel. But I have some stuff made by some more boutique companies, shall we say. We'll get to that when we get to that. We'll get to that. And I still got those Crimson Moon figures. I know Bobby Wald is looking forward to me opening those Crimson Moon figures. Really excited about opening those. I just got so much stuff to open. I got these Supergirl figures over here. I got this Superboy figure I've been meaning to open forever. But I'm gonna open that Batman soon. I got the Deadpool and Wolverine, the brown and orange Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's like my favorite Wolverine design is the brown and orange costume. So we'll be getting into that. I got the platinum edition of the Jack Nicholson Joker, the not Jack Nicholson Joker. The one that's painted like Sky Escape Joker. I got one of those. I'm not sure if I'm going to open it on the stream though, because I might keep it in the box and I might just open it, just open it. I might not do a video about it, which I don't usually tend to do that. Usually if I get a new figure, I want to do a video about it, but it'd be just the same video as when I opened up this guy. Like it would be the same exact video, except for his colors are different. That's it. So if anybody wants to see me do a video where I open up that Sky Escape Joker, the platinum edition of this figure, where he's got the burgundy jacket and the pink pants. If you want to see that, let me know in the chat, or let me know in the comments and the replay. I'm not gonna open it if there's no interest in it, because like I kind of feel like that's well trodden ground at this point. Jose Membrane is here and says, "Hello, Alan. It looks like you found my go-to figure. That's a lovely Orko figure that deserves a review." Well, it's about to get one. And I'm about to get into why also this was kind of a delayed question or delayed review. Al Davis says, quick question. Do you have a Doomsday figure at all? And if so, which one, please? Fun fact, that brown and gold Wolverine costume cost $150K for 12 seconds of screen time. For fuck's sake. Oh, yeah, I think it was worth it, though, because I thought it looked awesome. But, it's like, hey, Ryan Reynolds, that guy's a real comic book fan. And, he was including a lot of those Easter eggs for those of us who are fans. And I appreciated seeing that. I appreciated seeing, the Weapon X version of Wolverine, the Age of Apocalypse version. I appreciated seeing the Wolverine Crucified. I appreciated when they gave us a comic accurate Wolverine, even though they were kind of making fun of him. You could do a short Wolverine and not make him ridiculous. I'm just saying, it's possible. So, Glenn Danzig's a short guy. Anyway, so let's have a look at the back here. The episode that this is inspired by is The Return of Orko's Uncle, for obvious reasons that we'll get into in just a minute. I wish I could say that this is a really nice piece of artwork on the back. What I can see of it is nice, but unfortunately, Ross decided to stick a big old sticker on the back there, right over Orko's unseen face. Al Davis says, it did look awesome, but I take umbrage at the cost. Well, you gotta spend money to make money. That's $1 billion movie. Not a lot of movies make $1 billion anymore, and that one did. So they put that money up on the screen. So we got the cross-sell artwork there with Orko and Grizzlor, which I've opened before, and Fangman, which I do not have. And over here we can see that, if you haven't noticed in the package, there's some other accessories in there. And we can transform Orko with a swappable Uncle Montork head, and includes a hero medal and floating stand and a lot of other, there's a lot of things that I really like about this one. But as nice a figure as this is, I didn't get it first when it was first up. Like I said, I got it at Ross, and the reason I kind of slept on this figure a little bit, and I probably should not have, but the reason that I kind of slept on this figure a little bit is because it's a Filmation version of Orko, And obviously they did a nice job with it. It looks like the Filmation version of Orko, but we already had a figure of the Filmation version of Orko, because when they did the regular Origins figure of Orko, they based him solidly off of the Filmation version of the character. It's not like one of the Origins figures that, like, I mean, this was still kind of in the early days when they're still trying to do something trying to make the figures at least a little different, have a slightly different head sculpts or slightly different colors from the original figures. They weren't trying to do 1-1 copies of the vintage figures. But this one looks nothing like the vintage Orko figure, thank God, because, they kind of dropped the ball on that one, honestly. And it does look exactly pretty much like how he looks on the Filmation cartoon. Now, one thing that I think, if I'm armchair quarterbacking this figure, if I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this figure, what I'm going to say is I kind of wish they'd painted the underside of his hat black, since the underside of his hat was usually colored in black on the cartoon. It's supposed to look all shadowy down there. And he is a little large compared to the other Origins figures. So Al Davis says, it's not like the Force Unleashed super beefy Star Wars line, Muscle Man Orko. And Aunt June says it's a nice figure. Yeah, I think they did a good job with Orko. Aunt June, you probably haven't gotten out to the theater in a while, have you? So you probably haven't seen the new Masters of the Universe movie. But I'm going to suggest you watch it when it comes out, because it was awesome. And we are probably going to talk about a little bit of spoilery stuff in this review. So just fair warning. It's going to be spoilery stuff that's going to have to do with this guy. And the first thing I'm going to say about this movie is just make sure you stay through all of the ending credits, because there is something at the very end of the ending credits. But there are 3 little ending credit bits. And one of them features a character that a lot of people really wanted to see in this movie and weren't sure it was going to be in this movie. And he does have a little cameo. I'm not going to say what that character is, but you've probably figured it out on your own. And you might have even seen leaked photos on Facebook or whatever. But, I was saying at the time, I would be shocked if Orko was not in this movie. And I'm not shocked. That's what I'm going to say. Okay. So yeah, Orko, Heroic Court Magician. This one, I will say, as far as, being in scale with the other Masters of the Universe figures, I think that this one's going to be, this one is a little closer in scale to what Orko was on the animated series. I kind of feel like they maybe got some feedback or something. Well, I do have the 2000X He-Man over here, so you can see he's quite small compared to that one. And they got a 2000X Orko coming out. So Al Davis says, I wish it'd been Frank Langella. I told you I'd be back. And then old school Skeletor laugh. Double whammy. Yeah. Well, maybe Skeletor will come back. I don't know, though. Like, let's be honest. This movie is not doing as well at the box office as it deserves to. I predict, and I could be wrong about this, but I predict that you're going to see a bit of a smaller drop off this weekend than you often see at movies, because this movie's getting really good word of mouth, and it deserves that good word of mouth. It's a great movie. I'm giving it good word of mouth right now. I'm giving it the best word of mouth that I possibly can to whatever reach that I have out there. So if my opinion means anything to you, make sure you watch this movie. So here's the comic book, and we're not going to read this comic book because we read it before, but I do really like this cover with She-Ra and the New Adventures version of the Sorceress, Orko, down at the bottom. And this character here, I forget who this character is. I think they say who it is in the comic book. It's been a while since I read it. But yeah, this character that's a black lady in a blue Tila type outfit, and I kind of hope we see a figure of this character. I think she'd be a really cool figure to have. But yeah, it does show her in this first panel. I guess it's to be continued from something else, but I don't remember what issue it was and if I even have it. Does it say what her name is? Yeah, it's the mini comic Horde Invasion that it's continued from. And like I said, I've already read this, so I'm not going to read it again. Go back and watch my Grizzlor review if you want to see me open this, read this mini comic, and I'll read it in that. But she, even though she's featured very prominently on the cover, she's only in like one panel of the comic book. But I really like the design. I think that that's a cool design, like a blue, repaint of Tila. And she's got like kind of like dreadlocks, and she looks cool. I kind of feel like I've said this before. I'll say it again. That there just haven't been enough characters of different ethnicities in the Masters of the Universe line, and in recent years, Horde invasion, Al, Horde with a D. You know the evil Horde. So yeah, like I do like that they make an effort to give you a little more ethnic diversity among the human characters in Masters Universe. There's plenty of ethnic diversity if you're including creatures. You got crab people and lizard people and mermen and beastmen and all kinds of crazy stuff. Flying monkeys and bee people and dragons, like all kinds of crazy characters in terms of ethnic diversity in Masters of the Universe. But I'm talking specifically among the human characters, and that's why in the movie they gave us a black man at arms and an Asian ram man, because they're trying to give us a little bit more of that. And I approve of such things. I think it's nice to see all groups of people represented in the Masters of the Universe world. So let's go ahead and open him up, get him out of here. And here we got the Uncle Montork head. And I want to be careful as I take this out, because this head actually is in two parts. There is a separate beard with a little lavender scarf around the top. Al Davis says, I thought Triclops was black too. Yes, exactly. That's another good example. And Uncle Montork has kind of square eyes that are meant to remind us of glasses. And in fact, I remembered it as if he was actually wearing glasses, and it looks as if in this piece of artwork he actually is, because you can see the bridge of the glasses in the picture there, but I don't see them on the head sculpt. So, but I kind of like the way it just kind of suggests glasses. You shouldn't really see his whole face anyway, so you probably wouldn't really see his glasses. So Orko does have some rubber tabs that are holding it in. So let me go ahead and get this. So yeah, I kind of slept on this figure for a while, as nice as he is. And even when we looking at him as being nice, I'm like, I don't really need another Filmation Orko. And even if I bought him to make him into Uncle Montork, this guy's a little bit smaller than the regular Orko. So Al Davis says, Marvin the Martian without his helmet? Well, yeah, I mean, maybe so. Maybe Marvin the Martian is from the Mars in the dimension that Tralla is in. Maybe that. But yeah, probably a little bit influence there from Marvin the Martian. But I think Marvin the Martian actually has black skin. I think that's the difference there, is that Orko has blue skin. It's just kind of shadowed over. And one thing that they did with this Orko figure is, hey, they did the thing that I was saying they should have done with the original one and painted the underside of his hat black, so it's all shadowy. So that's very nice. Now, I want to try something real quick. Since we do have an extra Orko in the Classics version, let's see if we can put that Montork head on here. It seems like the pink scarf is permanently attached here, like it's glued on. And it seems like his head is permanently glued in. I couldn't remember if this stuff was all attached together, and it apparently is. So what you'd have to do if you wanted to use this body for Montork is heat up this scarf, like use a hairdryer dipping in some boiling water or something, and kind of peel that off of there. And then you can probably fit the Montork beard on there as well. But I don't want to use this as my regular Orko and put the Montork. Will the head even fit on there properly? It seems like it doesn't go on there all the way either. See, there's some space there. So it might not even be possible to, you'd have to experiment with it a little bit. but it might not even be possible to put the Montork accessories onto this Orko body, which is unfortunate. That means I have to buy another one of these, and I would have bought another one of these if I could have found another one at Ross. And it looks like it's gotten to be a fairly expensive figure online now. And I don't want to leave the figure permanently as Uncle Montork because, like I said, I don't want an Uncle Montork that's smaller than Orko. But let's go ahead and we'll take Orko apart. And again, the hat is a separate piece. The head is a separate piece. And the head's just like a little black sphere with the eyes on it. So the only real difference is Orko has these big round eyes and Montork has the square eyes. And there's the little lavender scarf, kind of almost pink. It's so light. And you can see that color is almost exactly, the colors are almost exactly 1-1 on this guy because the colors are almost exactly 1-1 to the Filmation figure on. Like I said, they already did a Filmation Orko. So that was why I was kind of like, do I really need another Filmation Orko? Do I need 2 Filmation Orkos? Well, I guess I've got 2 Filmation Orkos now, but at least it was cheap. And for people who are complaining that, you know, the Origins one was too big, this one is a little bit smaller. You can see if you compare their bodies, like the regular Origins Orko is at least half an inch longer at the robe, or yeah, about half an inch longer at the robe than the Filmation one. And it does look like he's all original parts. They did not reuse the arms or the hands or anything like that. The hands are, you can see, much smaller. The arms are much shorter. So even though this one is like super accurate, and I would say this, if they just straight up re-release this one as a Filmation, you know, the cartoon collection at Orko, and just put the Montork accessories in there as a bonus, like that, I would have found that acceptable. But no, they went the extra mile and they gave us a smaller version of Orko. And good on them for that. I approve of this decision. So let's go ahead and put the Montork accessories on our figure and see what he looks like as Uncle Montork. Now, the unfortunate thing is that since it is actually a figure of Orko, he does still have the big old O on his chest, which of course Uncle Montork does not have. And if they made his beard a little longer, maybe that could have covered it up. And it does cover up somewhat. But he's always going to have that O on his chest. Now, you could strip it off, but even then, like, you know, it's not just printed on there. It's kind of, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's kind of embossed on there. There's like a little bit of a groove around the edges of the O. So it's sculpted in there. So you would have to literally just sand everything down. So let's put the hat on there. And that's what he looks like as Uncle Montork. And it's not too bad. Like I said, like the main problem was that O on his chest. If they could get rid of that, if you could get rid of that, then it'd be about perfect. So go ahead and get that off of there. Speaking of Duriel, I did get a file for my 3D printing where I can print a Duriel figure, and I might just do that. I got to figure where I can print Uncle Montork, so I'll probably just print my own Uncle Montork and not have to worry about these accessories. Oh, before I put the hat back on him, Orko came with his hero medal, so we can put that on him. And unfortunately, you can see like it's just kind of flat, so it kind of sticks up a little bit, and it's kind of a rubbery material. You might be able to get it to, you know, hang, kind of bend down a little bit. If you use a hairdryer, you might be able to get it to stay where it lays flat on his chest. But I don't know if you'd be able to do that. But there's the metal, so you can get a look at that. All right, so let's go ahead and pop the hat back on. Jose Membrane says, Alan, I lost my zipline pull strap for my Orko in the 80s. You haven't seen by chance, have you? No, man, I lost mine too. I think maybe there was a little goblin that ran around and just grabbed them all from us. Just took them all. We got a lot of stuff in the chat I missed. Al Davis asks, what breed, race, species is Orko? Orko is a Trollan from, is it the dimension of Tralla? The planet of Tralla? I forget. I don't even know if they were even really consistent about that on the show. But he's from another dimension. He's from Tralla. His people are known as the Trollans. They're all magical creatures. And he accidentally came into our universe, into Eternia, and found Prince Adam when he was lost in a swamp. I believe he was stuck in some quicksand, and he saved Prince Adam's life. So that was why the king and queen rewarded him with a job as a court jester, since he was trapped on Eternia, and he became like part of the family to them, like the little brother Adam never had. So that's the story of Orko, basically. Bobby Wald says, oh wait, yeah, Bobby Wald says, I have the Origins Orko, and then I bought that Orko to do Uncle Montork. Every once in a while, besides the difference bothers me, but it's two different characters, so it doesn't feel so cookie cutter. Yeah, like I would be totally fine with them having like different bodies. That'd be fine. If what I would really like is for Uncle Montork to be larger than Orko. I would like to put the Uncle Montork accessories onto this figure, but like I said, I don't know how well that's going to work. So I'd have to, this scarf is glued on there. I would have to remove it, and that seems like a lot of effort to go through when I don't even know if the neck joint is really going to work on this one. So just my opinion. So I think what I'm gonna do is, in my continuity, this is gonna be Orko. This is gonna be Orko when he was younger. This is gonna be Orko during the mini comic days. And I know Orko wasn't in the original mini comics, but in my version of continuity, he is. He's we didn't really see him in the mini comics, but he was there. And since Orko was much younger, he was much more mature. Because remember, time flows backwards in Trala. So Orko's kind of like Benjamin Button. He gets younger as he gets older. So here we have an Orko that's a bit more mature and a bit more confident in himself, and a bit more competent in terms of his magical abilities. And as he gets older, he gets younger, and he starts to lose a little bit of his maturity and skill and whatnot, because that's how things go on Trala, so eventually he'll become like a baby, and for them it's like what Alzheimer's is for humans. That's how that works. So maybe by the time of Hero, he's like Hero 2, son of He-Man. Maybe by that time he's like a toddler. And this stand does come off, and you can see it's a much more simplified stand than the rather elaborate stand that they gave us with the Origins figure, where it's got that translucent plume of purple smoke with the glitter in it. And we've got this, you saw before how I can move this all around with the positioning, and, this articulated flight stand, very cool. But this one is not really, like it rotates around, but what's the point of that? Because you could rotate them around on the peg too. Well, I don't know if you could rotate them around the peg, because it's kind of got that G.I. Joe backpack sort of shape, that cross on there, but it's just round on the bottom, so I guess you could rotate it at the. It's very tight. I wouldn't do it. It does seem to kind of ratchet a little bit. I would not do that. I would just rotate it if you're gonna. But there's no point to rotating it. It's just a round base. It's not like it's posable, and it's not like it's anything. It's not even supposed to be like a literal thing. It's a clear thing. You're supposed to ignore it, pretend like it's invisible. Bobby Wald says that change the O to an A and put some feet on there, and you almost have an Alvin. I think you might be onto something. I'd never really considered that. But I wonder if you're right about that. I wonder if Alvin was a bit of an influence on Orko, with him having the big letter on his long shirt. Maybe they saw the old Chipmunks cartoon and saw this character running around with no legs and thought, we could have him float and have him wearing like a long shirt like that, and that would be cool. And for those of you who don't know this story, I think it's a pretty well-known story at this point. Most Masters of the Universe fans, I think, probably know this by now, but I'll tell it anyway. For those of you who are more casual and might not know this, is that originally Orko's name was going to be Gorpo rather than Orko. He was going to be called Gorpo. And the reason that they changed his name to Orko from Gorpo is because since he was going to be called Gorpo, he was going to have a big old G on his chest. And as I've mentioned many times before, you can see this with designs like Man-at-Arms, is Filmation like to have symmetrical designs as much as possible. So that way they could reuse the animation and flip it back and forth whichever way they needed to. So if Orko's floating across the room this way, or he's floating across the room that way, he's got an O on his chest, which is symmetrical. So, that way it's facing the same way. Where on the other hand, if it was a G, it might be facing the right way when he floats this way, but then it's backwards when he floats this way. So that's why, again, Man-at-Arms, who in the original figure just had the armor on his left arm and left shin. In the cartoon, he had it on both arms and both shins, and that's why they do things like that in the Filmation cartoon. So let's go ahead and talk about his articulation a bit. Orko can look up about that far, look down about that far. You can't even see his face at all now, can you? Tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate it all the way around. Of course, his arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders. And then he's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, which bends in about that far, and then that rotates all the way around. Orko's wrists rotate all the way around, and both of them have a horizontal hinge, which moves back and forth like so. And that's it. That's all the articulation he has. Orko does not have any leg articulation because he does not have any legs. Orko does not turn at the waist because he does not have a waist. Orko doesn't have ankle articulation. Orko doesn't have knee articulation because he doesn't have any of that anatomy to begin with. So this is about as well articulated as you could get an Orko figure. Maybe you could give him like butterfly joints or an ab crunch or something like that. I don't know. But what would be the point? This is about as well as anybody would really want an Orko figure to be. I can't imagine somebody opening this figure up and playing around with him a little bit and being like, you know what, this guy needs more articulation. This is a great amount of articulation for Orko. And you know what? When I was messing around with his head, I got his head all twisted around. I just noticed that. And we definitely want to have his eyes facing forward. So Orko was a character that I think is kind of divisive among fans. A lot of people hate Orko because I think a lot of people just hate the type of Orko, or the type of character Orko is. That kind of, childlike comic relief sidekick, the Scrappy-Doo type of character. A lot of people just really hate Scrappy-Doo, like to a psychotic degree. I personally am a little more sort of neutral to Scrappy-Doo. I don't really have the sort of hatred that a lot of people have for. I don't really like Scrappy-Doo either. I don't have any fondness for him, but I don't hate him. He's just kind of okay. I kind of feel like the main prototype for Orko, as far as Filmation goes specifically, characters that we previously saw in Filmation, and he's not the first character of this type that Filmation ever did, but the character that Filmation did previous to this that reminds me most of Orko is Batmite on the New Adventures of Batman. Now, of course, Batmite was a pre-existing character from the Batman comic books. He appeared a lot in the 50s and 60s when Batman was a little more in a fantastic sci-fi kind of era, and they were trying to emulate what they were doing in the Superman comic books, and gave Batman his own Mr. Mxyzptlk kind of character. So they created this character called Batmite, and the big difference between Batmite and Mxyzptlk is where Mixie was just trying to cause trouble for Superman, and he was just kind of chaos and just wanted to prank him and cause all kinds of issues, just give him a hard time. Batmite legitimately had affection for Batman and considered himself Batman's biggest fan, and he would try to help out and just wind up causing Batman a lot of trouble because he was just kind of a doofus. And Batmite eventually ceased to be used in the comic book because they decided to take it back into more of a gritty, realistic direction with the new look. And by today's standards, the new look comics aren't gritty at all, but compared to what they were doing at the time, it was a little more gritty at least. But still not quite to where the level they'd get when Neil Adams took over Batman. And then Frank Miller pushed it even further. And like, you know, and we've seen Batmite in the comics from time to time since then, but he was not being used in the comics at all in the late 1970s. Like, I think he might have appeared once or twice, you know, as like a joke type thing, like in Batman Family or something. But Batmite mainly was a character that had been retired mostly from regular use, at least. But when Filmation did their New Adventures of Batman cartoon, which was supposed to be more aimed at younger viewers anyway, they decided to bring Batmite into it, and Batmite became a character on that. They did a pretty good job of adapting Batmite's appearance, but one thing they did was, instead of having a suit that was in Batman's colors, Batmite had green skin now, and he had a purple and lavender suit. And if you want to see me talk more about that version of Batmite, check out my video that I did on the McFarlane New Adventures of Batman Commissioner Gordon figure, because I go a little more in depth into Batmite on that episode. But the main thing I want to talk about as far as Batmite goes, I know it seems very non sequitur to a lot of people right now, but I've got a point I'm getting to, is that when they created Orko for Masters of the Universe, they basically just made him Batmite, and even the voice is the same. Batmite's voice is the same as Orko's voice, and I think that they improved upon that Batmite character when they made Orko, because they leaned a little more heavily into the childlike aspect of it. So I kind of feel like Orko was just a little more sort of juvenile, and that worked a little bit better. I think it's maybe like a lot on like How I Met Your Mother, how they were talking about the Ewok line, and how like anybody born before like May of 1973 hates the Ewoks because they were too old for something as adorable and cloying, and anybody born after May of 1973 loves the Ewoks because it reminds us of our teddies. And me and my cousin Amy both love the Ewoks because she was born just on the other side of that line. I'm just a couple of years, 3 years younger than her. So yeah, Al Davis is one of my favorite shows. Hell yeah, I'm a big fan of that show. So yeah, I think a lot of the kids my age probably took to Orko a lot better than older kids that wanted something a little more like the early mini comics. And the early mini comics are my favorite, don't get me wrong. But I still liked Orko, and I still like Orko, present tense. I'm missing some of the chat, so I'm going to scroll back up a little bit. Bobby Wald says Orko was probably my favorite character after Skeletor when I was a kid. Yeah, you're probably on that side of the Ewok line too. I would always enjoy watching him trying to do a magic trick, and then Man-at-Arms would be the guy who would get an egg to the face or doused in water. Yeah. Jose Membrane says, watching the cartoon as a kid, I couldn't wait to see what Orko would do next. See, like, we're of that age. I think we're all on that side of the Ewok line. And then Al Davis says, I'm just not a fan of the character with arms and eyebrows separated from them, like floating or detached. It doesn't work in my brain, continuity or animation wise, with the hand-drawn characters. Like Orko flying in the cartoon where everyone else has legs to stand up and no face, so doubly cheap animation. Yeah, but he does have a face, we just can't see it. So I like to think that this hat is magical, and that it does just create a shadow even in the brightest light. Like the light could shine on it and it just creates that shadow, which is another reason I like the underside of the hat to be painted in black like that. I think that looks a lot better. But yeah, in the movie, again, spoiler for anybody who's seen the movie, go see the movie. It's getting spoiled for you because it's getting spoiled for you because now I'm talking about it. Sorry. But But to me, that was the first time we've ever seen Orko in live action, quote unquote. He's still animated because he's still CGI, but he's animated in a much more realistic way. And to me, that actually did kind of look like his eyes were just kind of floating in there. But yeah, like they tried to do it a little more 3-dimensionally in Masters Universe Revelation, and if that was I guess how successful that was in terms of that design, your mileage may vary, but I thought he looked pretty cool on Revelation. And I've talked before about how I really liked that version of the character and how I was really impressed by how they were able to take this goofy, childish comic relief character and actually get some real drama and pathos out of him. And like if you don't feel something for that version of Orko in that show, I'm sorry, man, you might have a heart made of stone. That's all I got to say. Cause I definitely I definitely felt something for Orko on there. And speaking of the back and forth between Orko and Man at Arms, like it was really nice to see like how Man at Arms was the guy who was caring for Orko when he was ailing, and that there really was some, even though there was always friction between those characters, there was always really some love there, and I thought that was really nice. And then let's see. Jose Membrane says Davis Hunter for Pokemon, and Al Davis says I never watched Pokemon. Sorry, Jose, but I can picture one of them with detached floaty eyebrows not connected to his face. I never watched Pokemon either, but I think I've seen Pokemon characters like that I'm talking about. I kind of don't mind when characters have detached eyebrows if it's appropriate for the character or the type of animation it is. You probably don't want to have characters with detached eyebrows in like a more realistic type, even to the extent of like the Filmation He-Man cartoon. I think a character with detached eyebrows would be kind of strange. Maybe even to the extent of something like Looney Tunes. Like I might not want to see that against Bugs Bunny or something like that. But like Ren and Stimpy, it would fit right in with that sort of aesthetic. Jose Membre says Haunter had floaty arms, cool character. So that was the Pokemon that had the floaty Haunter. That seems Haunter would be a ghost, I'm guessing, right? Like a ghost type of Pokemon. So then he could be non-corporeal anyway. I don't think it would really matter if his arms are detached. Al Davis says physically, I just can't stretch my suspension of disbelief for that. I have a cool speech in one of my sci-fi ideas where a character is entertaining a new type of virtual reality, and the tour guide says, how will your brain nervous system cope with being a worm or a shark or a floating eyeball or a question mark? How do you process it mentally and sensationally? Well, I mean, like if they're naturally something like that, I guess it'd just be wired in like that. I don't know. If you're a magical creature, also that'd be another thing. I guess you could probably do a realistic character with detached body parts if it was like a magical creature, like in a fantasy type of story, like the dudes in the guys in Labyrinth, the fire gang in Labyrinth. Remember how they could like pull their heads off and they were surprised that Jennifer Connelly couldn't do it? Something like that. Like you could make it work. Like if you just really, really wanted to, you could make it work. There's all kinds of storytelling ways that you can get around stuff. You can always like I always point out one of my favorite lines in the movie Thank You for Smoking, where they're talking about doing the product placement for the cigarettes in the movie, and Rob Lowe's like you'd have to you couldn't set it in the present day. It'd have to either be in the past. You'd have to put it in the, because the whole health thing, people always be asking him why he's smoking, so it'd have to be set in the past or in the future. Once the whole health thing blows over, and we've got a movie coming out called like Sector 6, Message from Sector 6, and he's like, we could put the cigarettes in that. It's set on a space station. We can have them smoking cigarettes in that. And then Aaron Eckhart is like, cigarettes in space. It's the final frontier, Nick. Well, wouldn't the cigarettes explode in an all oxygen environment? Oh, we can get around that with a line of dialogue. Thank God we invented the, whatever device. uh, Al Davis says, like us as people, how would our virtual soul or consciousness or nervous system cope with no arms or fins or a dot below you where your eyes would be if you were a question mark? Well, I don't know, man. I think some people would probably adapt to that easier than others, though. Because I mean, like you got people in real life that are like furries or whatever, and I'm not trying to be judgy on the furries, but you know they'll have their persona and they take that like very seriously, you know. So like you know they could probably go into a virtual reality world where now they have a tail and ears that stick up like this, and you know paw like hands, and be like, oh cool, this is awesome. Whereas I would probably be like, I can't get used to this thing being attached to my butt. Like I can't. Well, like, this is weird. It swings one way and it swings the other, and I can feel it pulling on my spine as it does that. It's, you know, like I don't know if I could wrap my mind around that. You know, I would, you know, honestly, if I was doing virtual reality, you know, I'd just be Batman and, you know, be Flash Gordon and things like that. That's what I would do. If I had virtual reality, that's what I would do. I would be like, let's make John Carter of Mars or something like that. I would do the all kinds of crazy fantasies of Conan, like any kind of character like that, you know. But I can see how somebody might want to be Orko. You know, like I said, people love that character. A lot of people identify with that character. Lou Scheimer himself said that Orko was his favorite character because it was the one that he related to as the most. And Erica Scheimer, his daughter, said, you know, talking about that, said that yeah, her dad was just a big kid, so he loved that type of character, even as a middle-aged man. Even as a guy who I'm probably older now than Lou Scheimer was when he was making these cartoons, and he was still that much of a kid at heart that he felt like that he was Orko and Orko was him. And of course, he did the voice of Orko himself and did a great job with it. So Al Davis says you'd have to adjust to suddenly being an absolute peak specimen as Batman. Yeah, I think I would not have a problem with that. I'd be like, yeah, wow, I could actually run and jump and not get winded after 5 minutes. This is awesome. I'd wind up being like Jake Sully in Avatar, where he's been out of his wheelchair for like the first time since he's been paralyzed, and you know, I'd go native and be banging Catwoman. Al Davis says, not just you, I mean everyone. Yeah, I mean like knees, yeah, knees that don't crack when you stand up. No, when I get out of the car seat like an old man. And I do make those old man noises, and it's like I think part of it's just on purpose. I'm just steering into the skid, man. Oh man. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for Orko. I think I've said everything I need to say about this guy. If you love this character, you definitely want to get this figure because he's a great figure. Now, I do think that this Origins figure is superior in a lot of ways. I will be honest, and one of those ways is like I really like the display stand that he comes with. It's just a little more dramatic, a little more interesting. But this one has its own ways in which it's better than the previous Origins figure. Like I said, I love that they actually painted in the underside of the hat this time. You know, he is a little more in scale with how the characters should be. In let me see if maybe I can fit each of these on the opposite display stand. I don't even know if I can because, like I said, it's a different type of peg entirely. But I'll try putting he's not going to fit on this one because he's too loose. And I'm guessing that means our Filmation Orko, our cartoon collection Orko, is not going to fit on. No, I'm wrong. He does. So you can have the best of both worlds and take your cartoon collection Orko and put them on this display stand. So there you go. If you want to do that. course, now your previous Origins one doesn't have a display stand. So Al Davis says, could they put a subtle ball and socket joints for the ears to make alert or quizzical ear poses? You know, they did do that with the Masterverse, with the Revolution. I don't remember if they did that with the Revelation, Orko, the one that came with Savage He-Man, but they did do it with the Revolution Orko that came with Guild War. So two comic relief characters that I feel like are unfairly maligned. I'm a big fan of Guild War as well. But yeah, that version of Orko had actually had ball jointed ears. It was very, very cool. So it was one of the things I loved about that figure. So I don't know what I'm going to open up next. I know I've got some cool stuff. I've still got more Masters of the Universe. Like I said, I've got the Al Davis says, that's cool. I was just wondering unknowingly. That's fine. I was just answering knowingly. So that worked out pretty well, actually. This is why we ask questions, because we don't know the answers. So there's, like I said, there's no such thing as a stupid question. So sometimes there's such a thing as an asshole answer, but I do have, let's see, did I still have it over here? Here, let me show you something really cool that I got recently. My last order from Mattel Creations, because I was talking about ordering this guy. I don't remember if I actually said that I ordered it on the show or if I was just thinking about ordering it. But he was on sale, so I was able to get him. We got Moss Man. So he's going to be one that I'm going to open up in the future. But we'll go ahead and have a sneak preview of Moss Man right now, because we can take we can't open him up enough. I'm not going to take him out of the package yet. But he's a massive figure. And when I first saw this figure, I actually thought it was an Origins figure, because like he's so massive and the proportions were kind of chunky. He looked more similar to an Origins figure than he did to a Masterverse figure. But no, he's a Masterverse figure, and I was really impressed with him when I saw him in person. So that'll be an episode that'll be coming up. I'm not sure what episode I'm going to do next. I might go ahead and do Moss Man next episode, or I might go ahead and open up some more of those 2000X cartoon collections that I have, or I might open up something completely different. I still kind of feel like I'm still in that Masters of the Universe kind of zone as far as like the movie goes, and I did love the movie. And like I said, if you haven't seen the movie yet, go see the movie. It's great. But it definitely needs more box office. Amazon, I don't know if they're putting on a brave face about it or they legitimately feel this way. Amazon says that they're pleased with the box office performance. And I think it's more, if that is true, if they actually are pleased with the box office performance, I think it's because they're pleased with the demographics. Because from what I understand, like the 12 and under really love this movie. So that's cool. 3D printers done doing 3D printer things. I love seeing the younger generation loving He-Man the same way that I do. Al Davis has custom Swamp Thing possibilities. Yeah, one of the reasons I loved Moss Man so much when I was a kid was because I was a big fan of Swamp Thing, and he reminded me of Swamp Thing. So yeah, I'd really like that. So yeah, I think what we're gonna see happen, what I predict is going to happen. And like I said, I think we're going to see a smaller drop off than usual this weekend for this movie. I'm thinking that's probably going to happen. It's getting really good word of mouth, so it probably will happen. That's probably going to happen. It's probably going to have a 50% drop off or less, like in the 50% range. I mean, less than 60. That's what I'm saying. It's definitely going to be less than 60. And I think that's going to tell Amazon a lot as to whether, if this movie has legs, like even if it's not like a huge hit, if it has legs, that tells Amazon that it's got a following and people love it, which is why I want to try to go see this movie a couple more times, because I loved this movie and I want to see it in the theater again. I want to try to take my nephews if I can. So I want to talk to my mom about that, but I hadn't had a chance to talk to my mom about that. I went to go see it with my mom. And if you look on my Instagram or my Facebook, you'll see the picture of me at the theater with my mom in front of the movie poster, because, I was just taking a picture of the movie poster, and I posted the picture of the movie poster. And my mother usually goes to the theater with my sister. She's like, "You're not gonna take a selfie with it?" And I'm like, "No, Mom, I don't really take selfies. That's not really how I just take pictures of things. I don't really take pictures of myself. It's just not how I don't have any. I'm not trying to badmouth selfies. If you like taking selfies, that's cool. But just me personally, I don't really take pictures of myself. I just don't. And I'm like, I'll take a picture of you with the poster if you want. And she's like, no, Valerie always takes a selfie when we're at the theater. Like, okay, I'll take a selfie with you if that's what you really want. I'll like, for you, I will do that, even though, like I said, it's not something I usually do. So I did take a selfie in front of the movie poster with my mother. So if you look on my Facebook or my Instagram, you can see that on there. And I'd suggest looking on my Instagram because it's probably easier to find because there's, I don't post as much stuff on Instagram as I do on Facebook. So yeah, we both really enjoyed it. I kind of wanted to try to take the nephews to see it when we saw it then, but they were in Savannah visiting their other grandparents, their father's parents, and so they weren't able to. They were not able to attend, unfortunately. But I'm thinking about going to. I definitely want to go see it again. And excuse me, I was thinking about asking my mom if she wanted to do it again and bring the boys. So because it's a fun movie, I think they'd like it. Al Davis says Amazon and Travis Knight's Billionaire Dad could easily push for part 2. The word of mouth, once it's streaming, will go up big time. Yeah, that was actually you're ahead of me on that one because I was actually going to say that too. That I think once it hits streaming, it's gonna explode. It's gonna do huge on streaming. You just watch, and that's gonna be the sort of thing where we're really going to see it blow up. I think that's where it's going to be a hit is on streaming. Like I was watching a video the other day and they were talking about like most of the people that go to the movie theaters these days are like the God, what do you call it? Like the Gen Z crowd, and they're not into He-Man. They didn't have He-Man. They're even too young for the 2000X version, let alone the 80s version of He-Man. They definitely weren't around for like the heyday of He-Man. And so they're just kind of like He-Man, whatever. Let's go see Scary Movie 5. And it's like, nothing against Scary Movie 5. I haven't seen it. I don't even know if I would like it or not. Like, I'm not trying to badmouth that movie. I might see it and think it's hilarious. But Scary Movie 5 is not a movie that I feel like I have to go to the theater and see. You know what I mean? That's a movie that would be just as good to watch it on streaming at home. Like, once that hits streaming, I can watch it on my TV. It's a comedy. Masters of the Universe is a movie that I needed to see on that big screen. I needed to go and see it like as big as I possibly could. So that's one. That's how I am with movies these days. I used to go and see everything, but I don't get to the theater that often anymore. Like I said, the last movie that I saw before Masters of the Universe was Nosferatu, and that was like a year and a half ago at this point. I did want to go see Sinners, but I never was able to get around to seeing it, which is too bad because when I did see it, I thought it was awesome and was thinking about, so man, I really should have just put aside some time and gone and seen that at the theater because it would have been worth it. That's a movie that's worthy of seeing on the big screen. And I wanted to go see Michael. I might still get a chance to go see Michael because it is still at the theater, but I definitely want to hit Masters of the Universe one more time. Al Davis says people miss heroic tales with morals and optimism. Following Campbell's hero's journey is only an awesome thing, and I think the side who have been missing good old-fashioned fun films are super positive about it, as it's not woke, it's fun, it's exciting, and it has a moral, ethical center. Yeah, the whole woke thing is kind of funny because I did hear a lot of people saying, oh, He-Man's gone woke when they did the thing with the pronouns, a little gag with the pronouns on his little nameplate on his desk, the he, him. And I'm just like, it's a joke, man. They're just making a joke. It's like, that doesn't mean the whole movie's ruined. It's like literally like 2 seconds of the trailer. It's probably 2 seconds of the movie. And I did kind of feel like there were some elements to the movie that one could say are woke. You know, like you made Man at Arms a black guy. Oh, that's woke. You made Ram Man Asian. Ooh, that's woke. You know. Oh, Tila's competent. Oh, that's woke. But you know, to me, there's a big difference in something. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit political. I don't like to get political on this channel usually, but I'm going to get a little bit political right now. There's a big difference between like true inclusivity and tolerance and all that kind of stuff and being woke, in my opinion. And for me, what that opinion is that if you're somebody who's just really accepting of people, and I like to think I'm somebody who's accepting of people, you don't judge people on things that are immutable aspects of the person. You don't judge people on whether they're black or white or gay or straight or bisexual or transgender or anything like that. I don't even know if I would call it an immutable aspect of a person, but I wouldn't even judge somebody based on their religion. Like if you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim or atheist or Satanist, I don't really care. Like that has no bearing on me whatsoever. Like to me, religion is a tool that you use to make yourself a better person. And if that's what you're doing with whatever religion you have, then good on you. If you're using a religion to hurt other people, then you're using it wrong. You use your religion to make yourself better, not to tear other people down. That's my opinion on that. So that applies, I think, also to the whole woke thing, because I kind of feel like, to me, when I think of somebody who's woke, it's they're being tolerant or progressive, or however you want to say that, in a performative way. And they're using it more as a cudgel to beat on other people. And I do not agree with that. I think that is wrong. It basically is using a religion to hurt people, because it is kind of to a lot of these people, it actually is a religion. Like if you're somebody who's an atheist, you're still trying to fill that kind of void in your life, I guess. And I'm not even trying to advocate for like the existence of God or anything in here right now. But what I am saying is that I do think human beings are kind of hardwired for religion and belief in the fantastic and ritual and things like that. And going back to the Satanism thing, that's why Anton LaVey created that religion in the first place, because technically he was an atheist. He didn't believe in God or the devil or anything like that. He was using Satan as a metaphor to represent rebellion, and he created his satanic rituals, because he felt like, even though I don't really believe in God, I kind of feel like this need for ritual is hardwired into all of us, and so I'm going to make up some rituals, and they're complete nonsense. I'm making up stuff that I know is complete nonsense, but it's going to be fun, and we're going to have a naked lady on an altar, and it's going to be a good time, and it'll help us to exercise this part of our brain that's there, this irrational part of our brain, in a rational way. It's a very, very interesting religion, actually. And a lot of people think Satanist, they think devil worshiper, but then there are people who worship Satan literally, but Anton LaVey was not one of them. And then Al Davis says the offended types don't have a sense of humor. I agree. Supremely agree. Absolutely. Yeah, see, we're on the same page. Al Davis says, I dated a Satanist for a month once. She described it as basically being how she just had basically be a selfish shitbag. I think that might be a valid interpretation. No offense to any Satanists who might be watching. I would imagine a lot of Satanists in the audience being like, fair. But yeah, like a lot of Satanism is that whole looking out for yourself kind of thing. It's actually very similar and a lot of Satanists are going to hate to hear this, but it's actually very similar to kind of Ayn Rand philosophy in a lot of ways. But sorry, that's how it. Aldiva says she was a model and hot, so I don't know if she was a goth girl, but I'm imagining goth girl, because if you're a hot model and you're a Satanist, you know, if you're not a goth girl, you're missing an opportunity. So if a hot girl is a goth girl, it's gonna make her even hotter. And if she's not so hot a girl and she's a goth girl, it's gonna make her kind of hot. Like she was goth. See, I knew it. I know what's up. I know what's up. So, but yeah, so getting a little bit off track there. You know, I would say that there was a lot of the you know, the kind of progressive, the kind of representative, you know, making sure that people are represented, and you know, making sure that people are treated as equals. That kind of stuff was in the He-Man movie. And it wasn't obnoxious about it. And to me, it kind of made fun of the people that were kind of obnoxious about it. To me, that's what the he/him sign on his desk was. It was kind of poking fun at the people who were kind of obnoxious about it. You know, his boss, when he was and she was hilarious, by the way. I thought she was great. But yeah, his boss was, I think, kind of poking fun at that whole sort of like that sort of performative corporate kind of you know, wokeness, that sort of thing. And I kind of feel like this world would just be a lot better if we would just, all of us, accept each other for who we are and not be judgmental. Like I say, like I tried not to be judgmental on things that are immutable aspects of a person. And I don't care if you're black, white, straight, gay, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, whatever, like transgender. I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. You know, that's good on you. Lead your life the way you need to lead it. Be true to yourself. That's cool. Do your thing. But I do care if you're an asshole. and we can all be assholes sometimes. And I try my absolute best not to be an asshole, and I'm not always successful about it. And you know, but if you can, you know, like just try to be the best person you can and be kind to other people, and watch out for other people, and defend those smaller and weaker than you, and you'll live a good life. So Aunt June says, I have enjoyed your show, Alan, but I have to go. Well, it was really nice seeing you. Like I know there's reasons that you can't stop by as often as you used to, and I do miss I do miss seeing you, though. I will say that. So it's always so just stop by whenever you can. Stop by whenever you can. I'll always be glad to see you. So that's my Aunt June, everybody. So give her a big hand, folks. All right. Al Davis says, I implied assholes too. Yeah, see, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Al Davis says, she took me to a goth club. I stood out as an alternative, normal, hippie, geek style. Was funny. Similar to a Jamaican club I went to once. And then Al says, as a teacher, I always taught acceptance and patience. Not a fan of tolerance. I can't tolerate assholes. Yeah, see, that's the that's the thing. That's my thing. Like I don't care who you are. I care how you treat other people. You know. So that's always been how that's been for me. Aunt June says bye to Al Davis. So that's nice. Anyway, that ran a little long because got into a little bit of ranty there with the and like I said, I don't really like to get too political. I don't want to get into like too much left versus right bullshit is the thing, if I'm being really honest. Because like I don't consider myself to be on either the left or the right either. And you know, Al, I'm not sure how that works over there in the UK, because I know you guys have like your own political parties back and forth, and I think, you know, that like the Labor Party would be more similar to the left over here type of thing. So like but you know, I kind of feel like if I look at the Democrats and the Republicans, and God, I don't want anything to do with any political party. Just for George Washington, George Washington tried to tell us not to become involved with political parties, and we did not listen to him, and that was a big mistake. I agree with George Washington. Don't have anything to do with political parties. Like like it'll oftentimes happen either way. I'm just saying this way as an example, but it can happen the other way around too, where I'll be like, oh God, I would never be a Democrat. And somebody will say, oh, so you're a Republican? No, God, I would never be a Republican either. The only thing I can think of worse is being a Republican. The only thing I can think of, I'll go both ways. The only thing I can think of worse being a Republican is being a Democrat. And honestly, it depends a lot of the times on like what they're doing at the time. But yeah, I kind of want nothing to do with either one of those political parties at all. I make my own decisions. I think my own thoughts. I come to my own conclusions. And I kind of feel like the dumbest political philosophy you can ever have is there are two halves in this world, two sides of people in this world, and one side is absolutely wrong about everything, and they're horrible people that are just completely evil, and the other half is right about literally everything, and they're wonderful, nice people, and thankfully that's the side that I'm on. That's some ego right there. I respect a person who can look at the party on the other side and be like, you know what? The Republicans got a point about this. The Democrats actually are right about this. I like the person who can do that. If you can see how both if you can look, you don't even have to agree with it, but you're like, I can understand why you're coming from that place. I get why you'd want to have, state-run healthcare. But I don't think we should have state-run healthcare because I don't think the state's good at running things. And then I can understand how you don't think the state is good at running things. The government does suck, but I think healthcare is a human right. Like I can see that's the kind of debate we should be having instead of being like, oh, you're a Nazi, you're a communist. Yeah, Al Davis says you have two types of conservative, but Dems are more like labor. Yeah. Both of ours are shit. See, that's something our political systems definitely have in common. Al Davis says, I lean patriotic, not lawyer, not royalist, not left or right, central by choice and in favor of the best bits of all. Virtual fist bump to you, sir. That's my opinion as well. So yeah, it's like I'm definitely a patriotic guy, and I'm glad to hear you're a patriotic guy too, because like there's a lot of things about both of our countries that we should love and be proud. I feel like everybody should be patriotic for the country that if you're a Japanese person, you should be proud of Japan. If you're a German, you should be proud of Germany. If you're a Frenchman, most countries should be. No, like France too. I'll let France have it, but yeah, you should be proud of the country that you're from, and I hope everybody is proud of the country that they're from, even if you feel like it's in a dark place. Fight for your country. Figure out a way to fix it. You can always figure out a way to fix it. Al Davis says, and extremely proud of the tiny island in the northwest corner of Europe. I've had such positive influence, invention, discovery-wise. Agree with French should be proud of England too. Hell yes. France should probably be proud. They should probably be more proud. They should probably take a little more pride in France and be a little more gutsy about it. I think they firebombed the Eiffel Tower recently. Like, how do you let that happen? But yeah, I've always loved England. I've always loved. I'd like to go there and visit one day. I've loved a lot of the mythology of the place. Like your King Arthur, your Robin Hood, that kind of thing. I'd like to go over there, see some of the sites. Big Ben, Parliament, see all that kind of stuff. See if I can find a TARDIS and get my picture taken with it. like I don't know how many real police boxes are over there anymore. I'd imagine probably not a lot, but there might be one or two still around, maybe. So, but anyway, I think that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Orko. And but that's pretty much it for this episode. Next episode, I will be back with something cool. Al Davis says there's a spare room anytime, dude. Oh, well, that's appreciated. So maybe one day I will take you up on that when I've got a little more extra money to throw around. So thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about this figure, what you think about Orko in general, all that kind of fun stuff. Next episode, I'll be back with something else, but I haven't decided what yet. But it's probably going to be something Masters of the Universe because I'm still on that kick. And we might go ahead and open up those 2000X figures. We might go ahead and open up Mossman. So, and like I said, I've got some kind of Masters of the Universe style figures that I would like to open up. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.